New Era Groundbreakers. Walede Michael Coppin. Walede is a corporate and commercial attorney at law, specializing in company law, civil litigation, private acquisitions, banking, commercial contracts, intellectual property, and land law. In his 9 years at the bar and in the legal profession, he has practiced in all courts in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Court of Appeal, the High Court of Judicature, Industrial Court, Equal Opportunities Tribunal, and the Magistrates Court, and is a member of both the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the Law Society of England and Wales. Walede is also a national scholar and a graduate of Worcester College, University of Oxford, where he read for a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Politics, and Economics. He later earned a Bachelor of Laws from the University of Law in Manchester, as well as a postgraduate diploma in law, commendation, and a postgraduate diploma in legal studies, distinction, also from the University of Law in Manchester. Walede also has the distinction of placing first in contract law during his time at the University of Law and earned the prestigious DWF Prize for Contract Law as a result of his achievement. Prior to attending university in the United Kingdom, Walede attended Trinity College from 1997 to 2004, and during his time there was awarded Best Student at O-Levels and at A-Levels. On Wednesday, 23rd September 2015, Walede was appointed as a government senator in the 11th Parliament of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and served until August of 2017. During his time in the Senate, he was a frequent contributor to Senate debates and motions and served on multiple parliamentary committees, including 1. Joint Select Committee on Finance and Legal Affairs, where he was the Vice Chair, 2. Joint Select Committee on National Security, 3. Joint Select Committee on Whistleblower Protection Bill, Joint Select Committee on FATCA, 4. Joint Select Committee on Gambling, Gaming and Betting Control, and 5. Statutory Instruments Committee. Walede is currently the legal advisor and corporate secretary for several private companies. Walede is also charged with securing the interests of many high-value corporate commercial clients and has concluded several high-value transactions on behalf of both local and international clientele.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Islam Choose Me, right here on the Islamic Broadcast Network, IBN Channel 8. You could also find us on Facebook and on tegotv.com. I'm your host, once again, Brother Mtima Solwazi, the ARTivist Educator. And each week, we will share with you the powerful journeys of our brothers and sisters who have embraced Islam. Their stories of discovery, struggle, and transformation remind us of the truth that Allah guides whom He wills in ways that inspire and motivate us all. Now, last week I would have introduced you all to Emancipation through Islam. And as you would have seen by the intro, it's no surprise who our guest is today. We have with us Brother Walede Michael Coppin. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islam Chose Me.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me. Thank you to IBN.
Yes, Brother Walede. Now, looking back at that video, but you was a very bright boy in school, right? You was a brainiac.
Well, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Everything we have is by the mercy and grace of Allah.
Yes.
So I thank Allah for giving me the opportunity to have excelled through all levels of education.
Yeah.
And to have the ability now to use that education for the benefit of mankind and
Ameen.
the Muslim community, most importantly as well.
And you were one of our first awardees for Emancipation through Islam for, I think it was for law.
law and politics.
Law and politics, because you're a budding politician.
In a former life.
But you young Walede.
Well, yes, formative life. Again, subhanAllah, by the mercy of Allah, opportunity came to make some representations for the young professionals within the Senate, and I graciously accepted the opportunity.
How was that experience?
The Senate was a very interesting experience. I mean, you would not have thought that at the age of 30 years old, I mean, I had never envisioned, it wasn't a dream that I had per se, but the opportunity arose through certain activism, and I had the ability to go there to represent, young professional voices, and I would say, obviously, the Muslim community within Trinidad and Tobago's, within Trinidad and Tobago. So, yes, I had the opportunity, and I thank Allah for it.
Okay. And you could share with the viewers your trophy for Emancipation through Islam. You can even show them it here. Because you were one of the early awardees for New Era Groundbreakers.
Yes.
2022, Law and National Politics.
Yes.
Walede Michael Coppin.
Along with other brothers like Alpha Senon and
Alpha.
good brothers, good friends of mine as well. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Walede, I want to start off, because this is Islam Chose Me, but you have a very interesting name, and I love that name.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about Walede.
Walede.
Yeah.
Well,
the origin of that name.
Well, the origins it's a bit interesting. My father tried to call me Walede, right? Okay. Because I was an Orthodox Christian before, Ethiopian Orthodox, and the Amharic is Ethiopian language, and it's a Semitic language, like Arabic. So that there are a lot of similarities between the words. For example, Assalamu alaikum in Arabic is Salam Lekelekemu in Amharic.
What?
Right? Amharic.
Yes.
So that I was actually an ordained deacon at the age of 9 years old. In the Orthodox religion, Christianity, and my father tried to call me Walede Jesus, but he somehow, by the mercy of Allah, ended up calling me Walede, which means newborn
in Arabic.
In Arabic, right? And I only realized that it was an Arabic name later on, but my standard 4 teacher tried to pronounce the name for the first time, because when you go to common entrance, they tell you bring in your birth certificate,
right? And
then they see all these different names, because I was always my name and through primary school was Michael.
Okay.
Everyone knew me as Michael. But
some people don't.
That's true. But at common entrance, they tell you bring in your birth certificate.
And they would use their first name.
And then the teacher said Walede. The teacher first tried to pronounce it for the first time. Anybody said Walede, and I was like Walede, and everybody started laughing. Because what's this thing? Who is this? What's this?
Yeah, because they know Michael.
And this is Walede, and it's a strange name, because no one is not even in Arabic society. It's a name that's known. It's one of the names. It's not one of the most popular names.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people with the name Walede.
Okay.
So I just embraced it when I became Muslim, especially phonetic pronunciation of it. Because it's closer to Walede and it's closer to me. In my new dispensation than my old self, as I would say.
So, Brother Walede, we're going to make this conversation very interesting.
Yes.
Because you started by saying you were Orthodox Christian, and then you went to say you were ordained.
Yes.
At what age?
9 years old.
9 years old.
Yes.
So, tell us about that. What would have... Well, we know Allah guides hearts, but what would have been that experience would have made you look in the direction of Islam? And I want to add another question one time. How did your father accept this reversion to Islam?
Well, for those who know the history of Islam would know that the first place that the Prophet would have sent the Muslims who were under persecution within Meccan society was to Abyssinia, Ethiopia. And that there were a lot of persons within Ethiopia or Abyssinia who weren't too pleased with the Muslims' presence in Ethiopia. and they tried to turn the king, the Negus,
yeah.
at that point in time, against the exiled, well, or the Muslim
migrants,
yes, migrants. Yes.
Fancy word, migrants.
Yes, I'm a bit tired. I had a 10-kilometer run this morning, and I think that's where from my recollection, I think one of the revelations of Summa Mariam came from that. Well, it was recited to the Negus.
Yeah.
And he would say, and when he listened to this recitation and the words, of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in Summa Mariam, he said, but there's the difference between Islam and what we believe as Orthodox Christians,
yes.
right? Because there are differences within the within Orthodoxy, but Oriental Christianity, Orthodox Christianity. Yeah. He says the line is, he drew a line in the sand and said, it's that much difference.
It's
what you believe to what I believe.
Yeah.
So that, coming from that background, it was very easy for me to enter Islam, because in Orthodox Christianity, at least Ethiopian Orthodox, the women pray on one side, the men pray on one side. In Islam, the men pray in front and the women behind. So there's that physical separation of the sexes, the genders. The women cover their hair.
Yeah, I know the Orthodox.
Yeah. They cover their feet are uncovered while they into the church.
I think the church on the Bitam is
one. Yes, that's one of them. Yeah,
I know them very well. Yeah.
So, and the language is very similar. Certain words, as I just told you, Assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum. So to me, it wasn't so different a concept to embrace. Even the way they pray, there's a lot of prostration within Orthodox Christianity, right? I remember as a child going to the church with my father, and we would prostrate on entering of the church. The same way that in Islam you're encouraged to prostrate, make 2 rakats when you come to the church. It's the same in Orthodox, in Ethiopian Orthodox as well. So that, coming from that particular background, being a clergyman from the age of 9, right, going to school in a Christian environment.
So you went to Trinity.
Having problematized the concept of the Trinity, and having all these questions as an academic, and trying to find myself as an individual, right? Then Islam became an interesting concept, which took away that problem I had with the concept of 3 in 1 and 1 in 3. The oneness of Allah appealed to me from a rational perspective. That's my particular journey and my understanding, and one of my key inspirations. But I had that particular foundation, which made the transition much easier, I think.
And what age was that? How old were you at the time?
That would have been in second year law, so I would have been, how old was I, boy?
August, you already left about secondary school.
Yeah, I already had a degree before.
Okay,
as I was doing law in Manchester. And so that is when, Islam, I embraced Islam. So, yeah.
So tell us about...
But the journey was before, It was a long journey. It was a long journey.
Yeah, some things would have appealed to you. That search. But tell us about your dad, your father. How did he... If you want to share, I don't know if you want to share.
Well, that's a difficult conversation. It might be for him. He was not as embracing at first. The first time I saw him, I remember him making some remarks to family members about, about it. I chose to ignore it. You have full respect for your father and all that. So I guess like any parent who is so involved in their own religion, having a son who has assumed a new faith could be difficult for one to accept.
Of course.
And I think it did take him a while. But interestingly, it was the Archbishop who I think intervened in that particular schism, I would say perhaps, and told him, as I understand, that there's freedom in religion. In the same way that the Negus intervened The Archbishop intervened and said there's freedom of religion because Ethiopia has, I think, 40% Muslims and 60% Christians. So within that society itself, there's a understanding that we are one people. We may have some differences in the way we see the concept of God, but there's a belief system that is shared within Christianity and Islam, which cannot be broken, and it's responsible for the solidarity that I think the Ethiopians have within their society.
Okay, and if you mind asking, how is the relationship now?
Yeah, actually, it's better now. Actually, my father is on an interfaith born in Tobago, interfaith, so that I guess he has to be very tolerant. Yeah, he's very good friends with the Imam. So when I go to Tobago, I spend a lot of time in the Lowlands Masjid,
Okay, I'm a partner, man.
Yeah. So I
Khalil.
think Khalil, yeah.
I'm going to ask Khalil. Khalil, a good one.
So I mean, Allah guides, who He wills. I mean, my father has a brother who is an imam, Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, Salahuddin, he's the imam of the Arima Masjid.
Okay.
Interesting. And his other brother is an Ethiopian Orthodox priest, and he has little brothers and sisters who are of different faiths. So,
All right. So that is nice. But when you were speaking earlier about the experience with your father, mine went back to my experience with my mother.
Right.
And it was a bit rough in the earlys. Well, we already had a rough relationship. Then to come and compound that now with being Muslim.
Yes.
And years after, I remember she was working at Nalis, and they had this competition, Know Your African Country. So you had to pick from a whole African country, and you had to represent the country in terms of dress code, religion, language, food, talk a bit about the history, the capital. Africa.
Yes.
So
That's an impossible task. It's like
I attended one of these shows, and I saying, "Where's Sylvia? Where's Sylvia?" And her sister next to me, Sister Halima, she's saying, "Look your mother right there, boy, because you won't have on a hijab."
seriously.
Hello. You have to pick an African country and represent the religion.
Oh, Lord.
So every country she picked, well, the majority in terms of religion. So every country this woman picked, every year, majority percentage was Muslim.
Subhanallah.
So she had to come on the stage and say, Assalamu alaikum, man.
Subhanallah.
Hello, I did not eat. I said, look, I'm imposter, a pseudo-Muslim. Then I ask you how it is today, because I know it will change, because they will see your character and they could compare. No, even though you came from that strong Orthodox Christian background, you would have seen that, the shift is just in terms of the ideology, saying Allah, and but the character will be intact, the behavior, the mannerism, as I mentioned, in terms of the praying and stuff like that. So,
well, I never gave my parents any opportunity not to have faith that I would make the right decisions.
Yeah.
So, I hope I'm a good example. I think I am a good example, right? So that if I were not a good example, then they could try to attribute it to perhaps my religion. I never gave anybody opportunity to say, well, he became a Muslim and therefore he became antisocial.
Yeah, you're a criminal now.
Yes.
A gangster.
So they must investigate. Is he successful because he is a Muslim? That's the question you should ask now.
Well, that's the question I'm going to ask now. How do you see it? Because
well, Allah says in the Quran, right, in Surah Baqarah, He says, "Who are the successful?" So we have the guidance just after Surah Fatiha.
Yeah.
The first 10 chapters of Surah Baqarah says, "Who is the muflihun?" Yeah, those who are successful, those who pray, establish their prayer, pray zakat, and all these things. So we have the guidance of what is successful. So yes, we may wear the clothes, we may have the titles, But really and truly, who are the successful?
Where does that success lie?
Correct.
So, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I want to go back to secondary school, because I went Trinity College.
Yes.
And I didn't know at the time, but very well, since we started to do Emancipation through Islam,
Yes.
one of the awardees from your time too, in 2022, alias Abdullah, he's from Arima,
Okay.
IDM, he went to Trinity.
Okay.
And in his bio, he was speaking about some of the activities of the young men
Right.
in Trinity. And I get to find out that some of the men from the leaders of the Black Power movement
Right.
came out of Trinity. So I realized now that there's a particular thought that emanates from young men out of Trinity College. Could you explain that
I
phenomenon?
cannot explain that phenomenon. That's a phenomenon that needs to be investigated. What I can say, fellas, brothers like Kafra Kambon, Ayagoro Ume, I think, he wasn't involved, this brother wasn't involved in the Black Power Revolution, but he has some revolutionary thought, and David Muhammad.
David Muhammad,
Yes.
and Ansar.
Ansar, yes, from the Jamaat. Yeah, good brother. So, I mean, he himself has some revolutionary ideas. I know him personally. And the list goes on. That is just a handful of persons we could point to who have made a contribution, have looked at the society, have said this is not the society that we think we should promote. It's not good for the type of society which we think we should aspire to. And they have used their voices, their intellect, and they have put their shoulder to the wheels, and they have made a contribution to the change in society.
Now, when we use the word revolution, some people get antsy.
Right.
But revolution is change.
Change, yes.
And that is what really impressed me in terms of that thought, that, thinking, because most of these brothers we mentioned, they think outside of the box.
Correct.
And they don't ascribe to a certain status quo.
Well, Trinity was supposed to have been a boarding school, Yeah, and it used to be on Melbourne Street. And I can't say whether or not those brothers were in Melbourne Street or in Mocha. I was in Mocha. What I could say about Mocha, though,
I think Alias said he started off
in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
But I know as well that in recent times, there's been an effort to zone persons to the college. And I don't know if a lot of those individuals came from zone type areas where, for example, along the bridge, who knows, right?
Yeah.
And having that background of being from the quote unquote less fortunate in society, but having the academic ability to go to a school like Trinity College,
yes.
I guess you merge that socioeconomic background with that intellect, with that sense of learning, that education, and then what you have probably germinating is a freedom of thought.
Yes, boy.
Yes.
I think that is it,
But the freedom of thought is not enough, The ability now to take that thought and to transpose it into activism.
Action. Yes.
Is that different process that must be that must go through, that one must go through.
And with that said, now, because where did you grow
up? So my story is a bit different. I was actually born in Tobago.
Okay.
Right, and it was traditionally the quote unquote bright boys. Yeah, the parents used to want them to go to Trinidad to go to colleges. So we had a history of persons in my primary school, which is Scarborough Methodist, right? Your parents would choose a Trinidad school as your first choice or whatever, and if you were successful, you would go across there, or if not, you would probably go to Bishop's High School because they choose that as one of the last choices.
And I only recently found out Bishop's was celebrating 100 years or something. So
yes,
I didn't realize that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Rowley, in his biography says the same thing about his parents choosing certain schools in Trinidad and then choosing Bishop's High School.
After,
Yeah, and so it was a thing traditionally parents did, I think.
Okay.
And I so happened that I passed for Trinity College in Mocha.
Okay.
And as fate would have it, you know, it was one of the better choices. By Allah's grace, I was one of the recipients. I was a national scholar, but I was also the recipient of a scholarship from an old Trinity Oxford principal, he left a trust fund for anyone who could get into Oxford to use that funds for their education. So by the grace of Allah, Allah put me in Trinity College, and not only being a national scholar, I was able to access certain funds to be able to fund my education to Oxford.
So,
SubhanAllah.
coming from Tobago, in Trinity, right, exposed to whatever it is other brothers before you were exposed to, like David Muhammad, Ansar, Kafra Kambon, Ali Abdullah, that is that free thought, that thinking outside of the box, and then going on a scholarship, fit that journey of Islam into, let's follow from leading from Trinity to Oxford.
Right.
Now, and
But before we get there, I think teachers like Llewellyn McIntosh, great short pants, he was the principal in my time.
yes, he's a
I was,
Trinity man
and I was
too.
always a revolutionary in Trinity College. Unlike the traditional quote-unquote bride boys,
Yeah.
I always challenged the status quo. So I, for example, would wear Afro, and Afro at that time was seen as something that was undesirable.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the quote-unquote bad boys would wear the Afro. But when I wore the Afro, it was because I wanted to challenge the system. Because the school would say that you needed to have a conventional hairstyle. It didn't say you needed to have a length of hair 5 centimeters or less. So what is conventional? Someone from a different ethnicity's hair being longer than mine is not going to is seen to be conventional. But an Afro, the length might be different. So there was no objective, for example, criteria for what was deemed conventional. So I wore the Afro. And Mr. McIntosh would challenge me, and I would challenge him back.
Okay.
So unlike most of the boys, I never became a prefect because I didn't live up to the conventional.
The ideas of the conventional hairstyle.
Yes, but I think there was a certain level of respect between he and I. But he would call me in his office and always, challenge me.
Okay.
So that I had that level of liberation, even within a revolutionary process or challenging of the
Because it wasn't about rebellion.
It was not about rebellion.
No? So, but we will come back to that thought. We will take a short break, and as I mentioned, hairstyle. Viewers, where you find my convention? Is this conventional enough? I want to big up a barber, because this is an exclusive haircut from exclusive barber. So the next time you're in Shogunas and you go to pray by the Montrose Mosque, just go across to exclusive barber and tell him, Mtima Solwazi. Now, I don't know what that means, but just tell him Mtima Solwazi. So we'll take a short break. Viewers, stay right there locked on, and we'll come back to Islam Chose Me.
Fruitopia, the drink that rocks your lunchtime. Fruitopia, Fruitopia, it's a drink that's hype. The citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Guava, pineapple, that give me a vibe. We no want nothing less compared to the rest. Fruitopia the best. Punch any thirst when it comes to the test. Perfect thing for my lunch. Flavors pack a punch. Fruitopia, Fruitopia, it's a drink that's hype. The citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Fruitopia, the drink that rocks your lunchtime.
Try our new passion fruit flavor today. Taste the passion.
Assalamu alaikum. In this, our 20th anniversary of existence, we here at IBN want you to be a part of our family. Call us at 663-4762 or 795-5900. Those numbers again, 795-5900 or 663-4762, and be a part of our advertising campaign. Glorious and available rates to you and your company. So remember, call us here at IBN 663-4762 or 795-5900 and be a part of the IBN family.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, viewers, to Islam Choose Me, where, because every path to Islam is a story worth telling. And we are here with our guest, our special guest, Brother Walede Michael Coppin, and we will just get it into his journey to Islam, but we still at Trinity College. And during the break, we were talking about, because you mentioned before, in terms of short pants. We know what short pants. Yeah. Somebody might hear that name, wouldn't realize we were talking about. So short pants, the Calypsonian, was the principle. And we were saying just before the break, when I was talking about a nice hairstyle, right, is that, yes, you may have been, or you may have had as many revolutionary thoughts. It wasn't about rebellion. You weren't a rebel.
No.
You know? You were just thinking outside the box. And as I said, he gave you, quote unquote, a leeway because you weren't a disrespectful or rebellious child at the time. But this thought pattern that you had, and he understand that too, eh?
Yes.
Because he said, what nickname he gave you?
Well, often when I would give, well, trouble, is that a word? Is that whenever I would have had disagreements on philosophy, he would call me in his office and be like,
they would call that trouble.
Yeah, a euphemism. You'd call me in his office and say, Mr. Coppin, why are you behaving like Ho Choi Charles? Because I was to be ignorant, and Ho Choi Charles at that point in time was making a lot of problems in the international community. You know, he was challenging the system, calling for full internal self-governance and all these kind of things. Eh? So because he was topical and I was topical, he would equate the two. And I would just, I took that as a badge of honor because Ho Choi Charles, they just gave him a national award at the order. So maybe I was ahead of my time. You know? So, you know, sometimes we view people as troublemakers or you know, but really and truly society looks at them much differently later on when they realize they were ahead of their time.
All great leaders at one point in time were labeled.
Correct.
The prophet, peace upon him, he came, as far as they're concerned, he came to get trouble.
Correct.
No? Don't worship all these gods, worship one God.
Yes, remember they say,
You know?
the reasonable man adapts to the world. The unreasonable man adapts the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man.
All right, Mr. Philosopher. So tell us, all right, so he was given trouble,
Right.
right? Basically challenging that philosophy, that status quo. What resulted from that challenge in terms of your role in Trinity, right? Or the legacy, I should say, that you left in Trinity?
Well, funny enough, I was the number one student at O levels. I had the top marks, right?
Okay.
So short pants, he had to give me a little break. Between the period of O levels and A levels, they used to have awards for the school. So I got the student that displayed the all best round competence, right? Because at that point in time, I wasn't a prefect, but I was building new institutions within the college, you know?
Like, explain with me.
Book reading clubs, you know, all that kind of stuff. Every morning we would have students from sixth form teaching the
younger
ones how to read, taking them, having them read books and then coming to explain to them what they read, you know, and giving them prizes and that kind of stuff. So I formed a society within the college that promoted academia, whereas academia at that time, even within our college, was seen as something that was not so desirable. It was a thing of nerds, you know?
Yeah,
So you try to make it more acceptable within the culture of the college that academia could be cool, you know? So even though I was a quote-unquote troublemaker, I was a troublemaker with a purpose.
With a cause.
With a cause. So that, and I was able to be the best O-level student and also to be the best A-level student. So that there was some sort of reward for my troublemaking.
So you started a book club. What else you were engaged with?
I was the Trinidad and Tobago representative at the World Affairs Seminar. I also came to from being within Trinity and winning public speaking and essay competitions on world affairs.
Okay.
So I was, you know, so those type of things as a adolescent growing up, you know, made me someone who people looked up to within the college, right? And then I was one of the first persons within maybe 5 years to have won a national scholarship. From the college as well.
That's huge. Yeah.
So
it's a huge achievement.
Correct. So there was activism, but it was also remembering that I guess the main purpose of going to school was to achieve academically as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so
you had that nice
balance.
You played sports?
I did football as well. I did football, and I did football at university as well.
Because you mentioned today, you just run, you know, so you were doing athletics also?
Yeah. I always played football at every level and also at university level. I mean, so I did that. But I tried to get down the belly a little bit, to be honest. This newfound love for sport or reclaims is really for health purposes.
Okay.
Recently turned 40 years old as well, so, you know, Allah says that is the age where a man is supposed to be at his physical prime. Allah says in the Quran. So you're supposed to be at the most peak mentally and also physically.
At 40?
At 40.
What about when you're at 50?
No. The Quran speaks about 40.
No, what I mean, does that continue when you reach 50, or you could take a little rest again and...
Well, I mean, you have to have the book of Mtima for that, but the Quran speaks about 40.
No, what I was trying to allude to, right? Because I know 50s are trying hard to get this down.
Yes.
Now, let's call it relaxed muscles.
Yeah.
Because if I do so now, it does disappear. You know?
Right.
If I do so, it appears.
Oh,
but back to you, sir, right?
No, just keep working every morning. You do some running. That app on your phone with that number of steps is very, very helpful as well.
Yeah.
The body is a trust, Allah says. The body is a trust. So therefore, we must do all we can to preserve this trust that Allah has given to us.
All right. So you said you embrace Islam while you're out there studying in Oxford.
Actually, not in Oxford, at Manchester.
Manchester.
I was in Oxford undergraduate, and then I did law in the University of Law, the College of Law in Manchester.
Okay.
That was after. I had to come back to Trinidad to do 3 years to work off the government scholarship. And thereafter, I had to go and find a new career path after the scholarship period of working was over. And I had the opportunity to go to the London School of Economics, but the government wouldn't fund it. So I had to find another way, another avenue to pursue my education. So I decided to choose law. So it's while I was in Manchester. that I embraced Islam, yes.
And what led you to that decision?
Well, as I said, my whole life was seeking knowledge. And then I also had a very spiritual connection to every time I would pass masjid, I would feel a certain kind of spiritual calling. It was weird, you know. I mean, you see, our natural disposition, the fitra, is that we are Muslims.
Yeah.
So it is just for us to observe the signs.
Yep.
All around us are signs, you know.
To heed those signs.
It's for us to heed the signs, you know.
Yeah.
And then I had a lot of persons within my life and my immediate vicinity and within the law schools who were Muslims. And I always observed them. Sometimes I would be alone in the college and I would see a brother who I didn't know was a Muslim. He would, you know, one particular guy said, I have to go to see Manchester United, but I must pray before I go. And I was like, with this guy taking this thing real seriously?
The discipline.
The discipline, yeah. And then I met other brothers who were Muslims, and I found their characters to be so impeccable that I had to investigate what about this religion made these guys so modest, so respectful. Even when they had limits, when they would go to parties, they wouldn't drink, but they always seemed like they had a smiling disposition, a pleasant disposition. And I always, you know, wondered what about if it was as a consequence of their bringing of their religion.
You know, most people, when they speak about Muslims, most non-Muslims, when they speak about Muslims, they mention that discipline with prayer.
Yes.
They say, no matter what, the person either disappear and then reappear.
Correct.
And they know in that period, they went to pray.
Correct.
And they come. So most non-Muslims speak about that discipline with prayer.
But again, it's the signs, because what is the odds of me staying back in school and meeting this gentleman who decided to inform me
that he's going to watch football,
but he has
to pray
before.
first.
You know what I mean? So it's just the signs, you know. And then I had other friends even before that who I would have observed in their conduct as well.
But you mentioned you have an uncle who's a Muslim.
But my uncle, funny enough, the experience I had with my uncle was a more punitive one as a child.
Okay.
This Muslim uncle. You know, being a child, adolescent, rebellious.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I saw him and he interacted with me, I had 2 earrings in my ear and he would say, why, you know, nephew of mine can have 2 earrings in the ear. And I was like, why is this Muslim brother just on my case? You know? So it was a good experience at that point in time. But growing up, I became quite fond of him. And actually, he's one of the reasons why I am so strong in my deen. Yeah, and he's the first person to give me a Quran in Arabic. Yeah, he's the first person who would, you know, give me that kind of guidance, because if you know the brother, he's always on the deen. He actually teaches Arabic in the masjid. Everybody, he's taught a lot of Muslim brothers Arabic. So even now I read Arabic language, it's because of his influence.
From him. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And how, because as a Muslim, life in general, we face a lot of challenges, right? How have you managed to remain grounded, right? Because you still practice law.
Yes, but that is my bread and butter.
Yeah. How have you managed to remain grounded in spite of all the challenges that we face?
Well, when I
personally and just getting up every day.
Well, when I came back from England as a Muslim, I had the opportunity, to work in a lot of law firms. But, subhanallah, but I chose to work in a Muslim law firm. I would say a Muslim law firm with Farid School, And within that, I chose that culture or that environment because it allowed me not only to excel within my profession, but to keep my deen intact. So, we would find that everyone would pray at a specific time, Asr, Dur, and even I would observe Mr. Schoon, Farid, at times when he has a client, Asr time comes, praying in front of these clients. Whatever you do, you stop and pray. And I have inculcated that practice. I started inculcating that practice within my life, so that they have brothers who are not even Muslim who would come and observe me when they would come to appointments with me, and they would post it on Facebook how amazed that they are with this Muslim lawyer who, no matter what time it was, once that particular time came, whatever he was doing, he would drop it and he would prostrate before Allah and submit. And they would make posts about it on Facebook. You know what I mean? So that environment allowed me that freedom to maintain my deen. And even now, in my where I practice, I think I'm probably the only lawyer in Trinidad and Tobago who actually has a musalla in his firm. They come by me.
Time to pray.
Only Muslims have a place to go.
Now, Walede, we have a lot of Muslims in different professions.
Yes.
And, it always, there's always that question that's baffling me, how to balance that, because, all right, for instance, I'm just spoken about poetry in the culture and the arts. And I just try my best to ensure that, so if we have an event, a cultural event, no alcohol, nothing that would contradict or be contrary to the religion. Nothing that's serving pork. Right? The meat had to be halal, stuff like that. And the people around me understand that. And I remember some years ago, I met this Muslim lawyer, and he was doing criminal law. And I asked him, I said, how? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, if I kill somebody, I come to you, I telling you, because he's my lawyer, I kill this person, right? But you have to get me off. And and not to criticize him, because I was trying to figure out how you could do that, And subhanallah, today, he's doing civil law. Right? And he told me, Mtima, is when you bring up that question to me, it kind of hit it. Because to be a lawyer, it is very lucrative. Right? So it's interesting to just share that experience, because we have to find that way, that middle ground, to still do what is our profession or what we love, but still do it in a manner that is pleasing to our Lord. Our Lord, and that is real. You make us smile when that you mentioned. When I came back, you could have worked in any law firm in the country, but you chose to keep it aligned with the deen.
Yeah, I actually went to interview with one of the largest law firms. This is not the largest law firm in Trinidad and Tobago. And they called me for the interview. They told me I was successful, and I told them thanks, but no thanks. But law is a thing that allows you to do a lot of good. Like anything, like any instrument, it can be used for good or for evil, right? But it allows you, because it is every facet of man's life is governed by a law. From the time you're born, when that doctor cuts that umbilical cord, if he cuts or he tries to perform a cesarean, if he gets it wrong, then you have a medical negligence lawsuit. So from the birth, and when you die, before you die, what you do? You have a will. And when you actually die, then you have to probate that will.
Lawyer.
So from the beginning of your life
to the end
of your life, you need a lawyer. And because of the nature of mankind, we are rebellious, we like to be involved in confusion, we are aggressive, so therefore you always have a need for conflict resolution.
I thought lawyers don't advertise.
No, I'm not advertising, but is it true? Philosophically, we always need a lawyer.
Well, what advice would you have, especially for young professionals? Muslim or non-Muslim, what advice would you have for young professionals in terms of building their career?
Well, I think getting guidance, seek knowledge first. Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, told us, right? So always seek knowledge. Always understand the society that you're living in. Understand where the gaps are. Understand where you can be of value to your society. Understand who you are as a person, because you can be the right person in the wrong profession.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah? Understand
real.
what makes you happy, right? Where you can make a difference, where you can see yourself long term. Yeah? And also, even if at first you don't succeed, try again. Yes? And I was looking at a documentary with Charlie Sheen as well, and he said something which stood out to me. He says, everyone teaches persons about failure, but no one teaches persons what to do when you are successful. So the failure part of it, understand that there is always the opportunity to do over and to restart and to get better, and to, when there's failure, to succeed.
But when
you succeed, you have to know that you have a responsibility to use that success in a responsible way. And funny enough, when I became a Muslim, all the things that I did when I wasn't a Muslim, I cut it out. And I had the means to run wild.
Yeah.
I chose to submit.
Yeah.
So from a quote-unquote successful perspective, people would say I am successful in my profession. But understand what is the true meaning of success.
Of success.
So for Muslims, we know what our success is.
Yeah.
For Christians,
we working towards it, yeah. We working towards
or
that success.
whatever religion you are,
Yeah.
you may have a different definition.
Yeah.
But we call all persons to Islam.
Yeah. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. What a moving and insightful conversation, Brother Walede. We want to thank you for sharing your story, right? Not a rebellious story or troublemaking story, but a real revolutionary story, because, from that tender age of 9, going in that direction of service to God, full circle to be a Muslim, is an amazing journey. May Allah continue to strengthen our faith and guide us on the straight path. If you have been touched by what you heard, remember that guidance is a mercy from Allah. Seek knowledge, ask questions, and reflect on the beauty of Islam. If you want to share your story, contact me, Brother Mtima, at 479-4510. And if you want to sponsor Islam Choose Me or any other program on IBN, reach out to Brother Hasib Majid at 795-5900. I'll give you that number again. Call Brother Hasib at 795-5900. Join us again next Sunday at 9 a.m. for another episode of Islam Chose Me, because every path to Islam is a story worth telling. Until then, it's your host, Brother Mtima Solwazi, the ARTivist Educator. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.